On this edition of the Jesters Court, the team hosts Memphis in a match that could go a long way in the playoff race. We will show you the shocking start to this one. Coach Farrell will discuss his goalkeepers in a special breakdown segment. Mason Maurice teaches you one of his best skills, and we joke around with longtime Jester Ralph Lee Price. We are headed down the home stretch of the season with a stop at the Jesters Court. Next. This is the Buffalo Wild Wings on Veterans, the home of the Jesters Court and home of soccer action. What better place to chow down on some stadium-inspired food and watch the third-place match and the championship of Copa America this weekend. And we will talk about Copa America later in the show, but it's time to talk all things Jesters. Paul Bourne along with head coach Kenny Farrell. Just one match last week. It was a critical match against Memphis, and boy, it was a real heartbreaker.
Yeah, it was difficult. We'd start slowly in the game, and some things went against us early on. Gave up an early goal, kind of uncharacteristic of the players. They didn't look in sync in the first 10 minutes, gave a goal up, but I think the key factor, the critical factor, was the goalkeeper being ejected after, I think it was 9 or 10 minutes. And got caught in no man's land outside his box and, handled the ball. Referee has no option but to let him go. So, the heat index was 100 degrees, I think, at kickoff, and I think we were about 85, 90 degrees, and we play 80 minutes with 10 men, a man down. Thought it was a gallant performance overall, but one you don't want to lose at home.
There was a lot going on in that match. Second place was on the line in the conference, and here are the highlights. With Chattanooga starting to pull away in the Southeast, Memphis and New Orleans were tied for second as they got together Thursday night. And the Jesters come out flat. In the third minute, Felipe Oliveira is running free through the middle of the back line and easily scores off the short pass. It's 1-0 Memphis. 5 minutes later, Jesters look to counter and watch Mason Walsh beat 3 defenders but come up empty on this opportunity. 3 minutes later, absolute disaster for New Orleans. Liam Davies is way out of his goal, turns it over, then commits the intentional handball. That's a red card, and the Jesters are suddenly in really deep trouble just 12 minutes into the match. But Davies' replacement Czech youth keeps the Jesters in it with a few key saves throughout the first half. Then in the 40th minute, Keir Hannity lifts it into the box. Tony Giudice rises up and gets the flick-on header, and suddenly there's at least hope to get 1 point out of the match. Opening minute of the second half, Rolando Sanchez sends a through ball to Jordan Kanoshi, and the keeper just gets a piece of it as it floats over the bar. 55th minute, Jerry Wiltshire finding a pocket of space at the top of the 18. He blasts it past Youth to give Memphis a 2-1 lead. 2 minutes later, Hannity on a free kick tries to tie it, but he can't beat Britt McGuire. 59th minute, off of the corner, McGuire tips it out, but right on the foot of Ryan Reed, and his shot is cleared off the line, and it's still 2-1. 75th minute, Mason Maurice from the top of the box hammers it, but it's right at McGuire, and the Jesters lose a tough one by a 2-1 margin.
I really don't know exactly what to say right now. It was devastating how we came out in the first 15, but I'm proud of how the team came back. And to be honest, it didn't look like it was 10v11 out there. We were giving it their all, and they could barely hold us back. It seems I need to stay on the training pitch a little bit longer, get my shots together. But all in all, even though we came out bad, I'm proud of my team.
Dropped 3 in a row now, though. Talk about the mindset of this team and where you guys are right now.
Mentally, we just got to stay strong. We have a good team. We know we have a good team. We just have to put the minutes together. I really don't know what happened this first 15, but I guarantee you we'll sort it out.
I don't know. It was a hot day today. Quite a few of the boys are English, so they're not used to the weather yet, they're not acclimatised. But I was proud of the lads, especially after their first goal. We did fight back, and Tony's goal was great. In the second half, the subs made a great impact on the game. But yeah, we was just unlucky. We'll come back again, don't worry, we'll come back again. We're a strong unit, yeah, so we'll definitely come back. and I'm pretty sure we will. We'll get a result next week. 2 results, in fact. So yeah, I'm strong-minded that we'll come together.
Coach, this match really took on 2 phases. A very disappointing first 15 minutes where the team came out seemingly flat, and then fighting with everything they had in the final 75 minutes. You had to be happy with the way they fought back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not happy with the result, obviously, but they were brilliant, and I think the crowd knew it, and I think everybody knew it. You play a man down, and you dominate the game at possession, and you get back 1-1. You're always trying to cover that extra man on the field. Anyone that plays soccer knows how difficult that is. You do it for 80 minutes. And when you look at the quality of the play and the chances we created, I can only be proud of them. I wish we had to put the second one away. Didn't happen. They scuffed a goal, win it 2-1. But I wouldn't be down on my players after that. We started slowly, but overall the performance was extremely good for about 3/4 of the game.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the red card. You're never really prepared for a red card. You're certainly not prepared for a red card that early in the match. And you're certainly not prepared for your goalkeeper to be sent off. Tell me about the strategy in the minutes after that red card is shown, because your whole game plan has now changed.
Well, if you go back to it, like the first 10 minutes, we weren't very good. They came and pressed us, and we didn't handle that well. We should have cleared a few long balls and pushed them up. You know, we weren't in sync for the first 10 minutes. But when he gets sent off, I mean, I don't know if you remember this, Paul, but as he got sent off, one of our key players got injured at the very same time. Mason Walsh had to come off at the same time as we lose it. So I'm dealing with these 2 situations at one time. And Tony Jason dropped back in for Mason, and that was fine. And then we brought on Chief to go and goal. And we were still a little ragged when he went on, and he made a couple of saves that were key for us. But from that point on, we started to take over the game, and we kept it 4-4-1. We just basically left one player up front. But we did move players into the final third of the field with good combinations, getting players in behind them, and you know, that keeper made a couple of saves, and you know, we did as much as we possibly could do. At the end of the day, we created more clear-cut chances in that game than they did, but they beat us 2-1.
It was a deflating loss, but no time to sulk, because there are 2 huge matches this week in the league, and we'll preview both of those later in the show. But much more to come here on the Jesters Court. When we come back, we'll go back to that Memphis match where your keepers were in the spotlight. They will be the focus of a special breakdown segment. Plus, Mason Maurice demonstrates crossing strategy in our training tip. That's when we come back on CST. This edition of the Jesters Court is presented by Heineken. Open your world. By Rockin' Bowl. Also by Vincent Guard Service. Experience has no substitute. And by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
I wasn't born in America, and arriving here wasn't easy for me. They didn't even say my name right. I thought I'd never fit in. But over time, I gained their respect, and that respect turned into admiration. Admiration into love. And the world better be ready, 'cause I'm an American now. My name is soccer.
Big plays, baby, big plays.
Is that Mike?
Yeah, he lost his wallet or something. He's on his way.
Classic Mike.
The B-Dubs Fast Break Lunch Menu. Fast, affordable lunches with a side of serious sports action. Dine in or take out. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Welcome back to the Jesters Court, and it's time for our coaches breakdown presented by Heineken. And we're going to do something a little different this week. We're going to talk about your goalkeepers. We haven't had a chance to discuss them much on the show this year. And we're going to start with Liam Davies and the unfortunate red card. And you're going to break it down a little bit. Couple things happening here. A little over-aggressive, maybe coming out too far. And then you didn't like the red card. Explain what you would have rather he had done there.
Well, I think you know, safety first. The ball came in behind, player was onside, and Liam is sweeping up behind the back 4, who, as we said, like in the first 10 minutes, weren't fully at their best, and he came out, and what he tried to do was keep possession, and he really should have just put the ball over the sideline, played safe, drop in behind it, get players behind the ball, and play it out from there. And when the ball dropped to the player, I'm not sure if he knew where he was. It seems like he did. And it's just a natural reaction of a goalkeeper to put his hand up when you're getting lobbed. And I think he knew he pulled it down, and there's no question the referee had to send him off. And if I was the other coach and he didn't, I would have been upset.
Right.
And but I like the fact that he comes out and takes command of space behind the back four. I don't mind a goalkeeper playing outside his 18, and if he has the ability to play there. But what happened was he made a mistake. He should have just cleared it, got back in goal, brought the defenders back, brought the midfielders in, defended a throw-in, and that never happened.
But the other thing you mentioned after the match, and again, it was instinctual by Liam, you would have rather he just gave up the goal and be down 2-0 rather than being down a man for 78 minutes.
Well, my belief is that we're a better team than that team, and even being down 2 after 8 or 9 minutes, I think that we could have. It was a crazy start to the game. We did not start well, but you could see at that 15-minute mark when we took over, we completely dominated with 10 men. If we had 11 men on the field, I really believe we would have gone on to win it. And it was just instinctive. No, I don't want him sent off. I don't want him ejected from the game. I want to play it out, and I think we could. And we have the ability to score goals. And we would have scored a few that night, I reckon. But, it worked out the way it was, and we had to deal with it. And the keeper that came in did extremely well when he came in.
Well, that's the second part of it. So Czech Youth comes into the game, one of 4 goalkeepers you've used this season. Now, Liam Davies has asserted himself as the number 1, it would seem. But you've got these other guys. Talk about how you have to use training to evaluate them and make sure they stay sharp.
Yeah, well, they've got to stay sharp, but it's really on the goalkeepers. Look, there's one position on the pitch when you're a goalkeeper. There's no room to manipulate players, good players, and put them in different, places on the field. So every time they come training, you kind of lay it out who's number 1. Well, Liam was number 1. And you got the other 2 that are trying to push him out. They're very talented in different ways. Liam has a bit more experience than the other 2. One of them hasn't had much goalkeeping training before, but when I saw him playing for the developmental team that we have, I just thought that he has something that he can go on in the future. And then you've got the other player that's local, Jose Santos, that has come in and played in one game for us extremely well, kept a clean sheet, and it looks like he can go on to be a great goalkeeper. Not the same amount of experience that Liam has. So every time they go up, I want a goalkeeper to go in and go, you know what, I respect you, love you to death, you're my teammate, but I want to be there. And I want that competition there. And if they show me that they haven't got that mental strength to go in as a number 2 or a number 3, ready to push the number 1 out, or be ready when the opportunity comes, then they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be there. It's a mental strength. And, and in their own minds, they probably feel that they're better and they're ready for, the position. At the end of the day, I've got to make a decision. There's only one I can pick at any time. But what they want to do is win over the coach's confidence in training, show how positive they are, how good they are, the talents. I'll recognize the talents that they have. And then when the time comes, they step in. Or if someone's not performing particularly well, then they step in. It's very difficult for goalkeepers, but they've got to have that mental strength and that complete focus 100% of the time, especially in training.
And you didn't even mention Larry Newby, who's also played for you this season. So all 4 goalkeepers have contributed this season, and it's nice to have that depth back there. Now, another guy who's contributed this season is Mason Maurice, and he's the subject of this week's training tip presented by Ye Old College Inn and Rockin' Bowl, and he's going to show you one of his specialties, crossing the ball.
Hi, I'm Mason Maurice. I'm from Madisonville, Louisiana, and this is my first year with the Jesters. I'm a midfielder. Today we're going to talk about crossing the ball into the box. It's one of the most important factors on building an attack and finishing it off. It's very important to put in a good service and give the forwards a chance to score. Number 1 mistake is probably not picking their head up, finding their teammates, and just keeping their head down and hoping for the best. The number 1 tip I can give is before crossing the ball, pick your head up, at least get a sense of where your players are so you can find that ball for them. Okay, so what we're looking for here is we're going to get the ball out of our feet. I see my forward making his run, cross to him, and he finishes. Getting a good cross in can be the difference in a match, whether it's a scoring opportunity, team scores. A lot of chances come from crossing, and most of the goals we've scored have actually come from crossing, so it's very important to get those crosses in, find your forwards, and just give them a chance.
Still to come on the Jesters court, we will joke around with Ralph Lee Price, but coming up next, Coach Farrell will take your questions here on CST.
You gotta prove yourself to make it in America. It doesn't matter where you came from. I heard that I'd never make it, but I proved them wrong.
My name? You can call me Soccer.
It's our town and our team. The New Orleans Jesters are back at Pan American Stadium for the 2016 season. Jesters soccer is great and an affordable entertainment, with single game tickets just $10 and $5 for kids ages 6 to 12. Kids under 6 get in free. Also, family packs are available game days for just $25. To get your Jesters tickets, go to nolajesters.com or call 504-312-3979. As we welcome you back to Buffalo Wild Wings, it's the interactive portion of the show. It's Ask the Coach, where we get questions from the audience, from Twitter and the Royal Court Roundtable about all things soccer. And we're going to start with the Royal Court Roundtable. This is from Jordan LaFrance, who wants to know, after going down a man so early, the Jesters still look like the better team through most of the match. And in my opinion, we're unlucky not to draw. What kind of talk do you normally give the team after a game like that?
Well, I mean, you have to be realistic about where we are. So you start off with the baseline. You give them credit for the performance, but you're realistic as well, and you got to know what's ahead of you going forward. And to be honest, you know, we didn't start very well either, so we put ourselves in that hole. I was glad that they came back and fought as well, and were unfortunate not to win the game. I think everyone knows that it was at the game that night. But at the end of the day, we should never have been in that hole in the first place, and we lost 3 points to a team that should never have happened. So, look, we're realistic about it, but you know, you learn from the mistakes and the things you may have not gone right for you in that game. But you focus on the next game, and you focus on what you've got to do going forward.
Got a couple of Copa America questions here on Twitter, and we're going to start with Matt Luckett again, and he wants to know, hey, Coach, how did Mexico lose so badly to Chile? 7-0 seems absurd. In my opinion, Mexico quit after they went down 3-0.
No, there is something wrong there, and no team of that, with the caliber of player they have, should lose by that much. They capitulated. Something was wrong. You know, the chemistry of the players was wrong. You don't know what it is. You don't know what happens inside the dressing room, but you do not quit. You're wearing your country's colors. You're wearing your club colors. Whatever. You're playing for your own personal pride. You've got to get in other people's face and make sure that doesn't happen. And it did happen. They were second to everything. It's. I'm sure if you were a Mexican, you would say, it's a disgrace, and it really was. A team that has got that many good players should not be in that situation. It boils down to capitulation and to lack of leadership and a lack of a desire to really, a lack of pride to play for their country, I think.
It was their worst loss in 90 years as a national team. And I got to tell a side story on this, and you'll appreciate this. I was up in New York this weekend at a bar in the East Village. The New York Mets game is on. New York Mets, they play in New York. Not one person was watching the Mets game. Everybody was watching Chile and Mexico. Yeah. To me, that just speaks to how big soccer is getting in this country. And we're not talking Mexican and Chilean people. This is just average people watching the match.
Well, in 1994, the World Cup was held in the United States, and I was at a couple of games in Giant Stadium up in New York. And when we went down to Manhattan or the Village afterwards, even though there'd be 90,000 people at Giant Stadium or in or around the stadium at the games, huge World Cup games going on, nobody in New York or Manhattan knew that a World Cup was being played. Honestly, you could walk around the streets and say, this is so strange. And now you're telling me that we haven't even got the World Cup going on. We've got this, the Copa America going on, and no one's watching the Mets. Everybody's watching Mexico, Chile. Tells you how far this country has come. It isn't going backwards. It's only going forwards. It's snowballing right now.
I literally walked around the bar. There were 2 TVs. They had the Mets game on. Nobody paying attention. I thought it was awesome. Another Twitter question. This is from @Sal from NO, who wants to know about Team USA. 2 matches remaining. No matter how they finish in this tournament, what they've done to get to the semifinals, what is your opinion of what they've done in this tournament?
It's tremendous, and after the pressure of losing from the first game, everybody wants to throw the towel in. You know, it's like everybody's waiting to have a go at the coach, waiting to have a go at the players. And you know, I told you this a couple of weeks ago, Klinsmann was quite right. There wasn't much between the games in the first game, there wasn't much between the teams. And they've gone on to win the next 2 games, and they put themselves in a great position. Actually, 3 games. They've gone on to do that, and they put themselves in a great position, and I commend the coach and I commend the team for doing it, and I think he's having a hard enough time trying to build for the World Cup, never mind win this one, that people need to get behind him and make sure that he can get the job done, that we can be successful in the future and now.
United States playing Argentina and Lionel Messi, and that leads to our next question from David Alexander Onstadt, who wants to know, when are we getting Messi?
Well, we were messy for the first 15 minutes against Memphis. We were very messy. And we straightened it up and got our game together, but it wasn't good enough on the night. But Messi's called me a few times, and I said, look, we're not ready for you yet. So let's leave it a few years. We'll take a look when he's a little bit older.
Let's get an audience question from one of our young Jesters fans.
Why are you called the Jesters?
So where did that name come from? I guess a lot of our fans probably don't know that.
Well, when the team was branded around 2008, I think it was 2008, 2009, the person that was putting it together very much wanted to look to the future and become part of New Orleans, the city. And obviously, the Jesters and Mardi Gras go together, and we know the New Orleans Jesters is, and then the colors of the lime and the green came together, and then the Jesters court as you hold the court for the Mardi Gras balls, and it all ties in together, and hopefully the bigger we get in the future, this all ties in and people understand and what it's all about. But it came down to, there was a competition out there, and the man that named and won the competition still comes to every single home game, and it went out around the city, and he was the only one that came in with New Orleans Jesters.
What were the choices that didn't make the cut? What were a couple of the finalists?
To be honest, it's a long time ago, but I think it was Catahoula's was one of them, which is the Louisiana dog. There was a few different, I think it was Catahoula's, and there was one or two others, I can't really remember, but that was the other one that I remember distinctly. But not many people would know what a Catahoula is. But this was distinctly going to be, you know, for the city of New Orleans, and you can see how they are bringing the brand together and getting the local people to buy into this.
One final question. This is from @the31. He actually wrote this question while he was sitting in class. He wants to know if you can write a Jester's excuse note to get him out of his midterm so he can come to the match on Wednesday night.
Well, if he writes the note, I'll put it on the letterhead and sign it, and I most definitely will give it to him to bring back to his teacher, or I might even mail it personally. But anyone that we want at that match Wednesday night, we want them all there. So yes, indeed, write the note, get it to me. We'll put it on the letterhead. I'll sign it. You give it to the teacher, and if they don't accept it, come to the match anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And we need a full house, a huge match against Nashville on Wednesday night, and another great round of questions. And we'll have more next week, but we aren't done with this week's show. When we return, we will look at the week ahead and get to know Ralph Lee Price.
I wasn't born in America, and arriving here wasn't easy for me. They didn't even say my name right. I thought I'd never fit in. But over time, I gained their respect, and that respect turned into admiration. Admiration into love. And the world better be ready, 'cause I'm an American now. My name is soccer.
Big plays, baby, big plays.
Is that Mike?
Yeah, he lost his wall or something. He's on his way.
Classic Mike.
The B-Dubs Fast Break Lunch Menu. Fast, affordable lunches with a side of serious sports action. Dine in or take out. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
So things are getting a little perilous as we head into the final 4 matches of the NPSL schedule, and 2 of those take place this week as we look at the week ahead presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. And it starts with an enormous home match against Nashville Wednesday night, and then a road trip to Birmingham on Saturday. The Hammers, a team you beat, but start with Nashville, a team you're now battling for playoff position with that you lost to earlier in the season.
Yeah, I think Nashville's one of the better teams in the league. They've got good players, and you know, it's a game we've got to win. It's a game we've got to be ready to play. Got to come out ready at the start. And I think we can win it, and I think it'll be a very, very toe-to-toe game, just like Chattanooga was. And you know, I'll give them credit for the. I mean, I don't think their record reflects the type of team they are, just like ours doesn't right now. So I think it's going to be a very, very tough match, a good match, and the team that wins it is going to end up second position in the league on Thursday morning.
So those are serious matches, serious business this week, but it's time to have a little fun. Let's joke around with Ralph Lee Price.
Ralph Price from Slidell, Louisiana, 6th year with the New Orleans Jesters. I'm a defender. My favorite food, I'd have to say, is steak and potatoes with some fresh corn on the cob. My favorite movie? I'd love to say I'm a comedy fan, so anything with Will Ferrell, Caddyshack, The Wedding Crashers, it's a comedy.
Just living the dream. I love that. You know what? I will have some meatloaf. Let's have some meatloaf. You want some? Yes. I knew you'd go. Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now!
Celebrity crush is Jennifer Aniston. Ever since Along Came Polly, in 2004, fell in love with Jennifer. Favorite TV show, I'd have to be House of Cards, How to Get Away with Murder, or The Office. I love The Office.
That's what she said.
Say the favorite cities I want to visit is I've never been to the West Coast, so Los Angeles, Seattle, somewhere up and around the West Coast of the United States would be awesome. If I wasn't a soccer player, I'd say I'd be still involved in sports in some way, whether operations or managing, or potentially a lawyer like my dad. Special talents, I'd say I've been playing piano since I was 3 years old and won many state and national competitions out of Virginia. Wow. Most embarrassing moment of my soccer career was probably missing a PK in a state semifinal that could have sent our team to a state championship. Soccer idol, in terms of player, I would say it has to be Andre Pirlo.
There goes the deception. Pirlo the shot, and what a goal! There it is! 3 for 3 for the TPs. Andrea Pirlo is first in Major League Soccer.
In terms of position player, where I play now at center back, probably John Terry for his leadership.
All right, Ralph, and good timing on that soccer idol as Pirlo gets his first MLS goal. And I got to say, personally, I was actually at that match, my annual MLS trip with my buddy Trace. We were at that match Saturday at Red Bull Arena on Sunday. But how about this on Saturday? I get to see their 3 designated players, Lampard, Villa, and Pirlo score. That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was great if the goalkeeper from Philadelphia didn't have lead in his boots. He had lead in his shoes. He didn't move for any of those goals.
My buddy said the same thing.
I've never seen anything like it. It was so bad. It was unreal. I don't know that he could have played for us on that performance. But listen, it's great to see those 3 play. Oh. And obviously, you know, our former player Patrick Mullins is training with them. He's not getting in the side right now, but he's training and playing with them every day in training. So, you know, it's great. And you got the likes of those players coming here and contributing to U.S. soccer is phenomenal. It really is.
I posted the picture on Twitter. We were hoping to see Patrick Mullins play on Saturday, but I still was repping the Jesters gear at NYCFC at Yankee Stadium. We'll joke around with another Jester next week, and we'll also have highlights and reaction of those 2 key matches. And the show will air at these times on CST. And again, all shows are available by Thursday morning on my YouTube page. But that's all the time we have for this week's Jesters Court. For Kenny Farrell, Paul Warren saying we hope to see you Wednesday night out at Pan American Stadium for a huge match against Nashville.